Hello, hello, my marvelous mom friend. Quick question. How are you showing up today? I mean, are you altogether lovely? Like the Song of Solomon says, there were so many days as a young mom that I wanted to step out of the house, altogether beautiful, altogether lovely. And, the reality is, I could look pretty good on the outside. I could fix my hair, put my makeup on, get a cute, sassy little outfit going, bright lipstick, awesome shoes. But on the inside was another story. In fact, those were days of clutter and chaos on the inside. It was a pretty messy story. The problem was I couldn't show up as the woman I wanted to be on the outside if I was full of disruption and despair on the inside. Are you showing up as the woman that you desire to be? Are you bringing the power of your voice and your influence into challenges and situations? Are you helping others, especially your kids and your family, navigate the tumultuous waters with ease and clarity? Well, you won't want to miss today's episode of Mom2Mom Mentoring, where I had the privilege of joining with my good friend and mom mentor, Jen Rogers.
You are
Mm.
always wherever you go. You can't shake you. And I knew that something needed to be different. And if something was going to be different, it would have to start with me. I knew the words, but I didn't even understand.
Jen is a confidence building empowerment coach. She has the privilege of working with high achieving women to empower them to use their voice so that they can show up authentically and influentially in their business relationships and at home. Jen has been my friend for a few years, and more recently, she's been my podcast coach. We've had the privilege to not only laugh together, but work together and challenge each other. As we start out today's episode, join Jen and I for a little getting to know you fun. My first question is, how do you like to be celebrated?
Oh my gosh, I should have expected this from this
I
celebration
know, right?
coach. How do I like to be celebrated? Yeah, it's a challenge for me. And yet, as a professional coach, guess what I encourage my clients to celebrate their wins? Yes, absolutely. And there's conviction every time I
Mm.
invite my clients to do that. So if I were to invite myself, this is a really great question.
Well, it's a really important question. I love this question.
I like
Mhm.
planned surprises and I like pretty things. So
Mm.
celebrating, I enjoy spending time with people who enjoy spending time with me. And to me, that's a celebration. So a good wine, a good steak, a good potato, good friends,
Mhm.
that to me is celebrating. Did I answer the question? Can we talk about something else now?
Yeah. Okay. My next question is, what is one important quality that you value in friendship?
Oh, honesty. Don't
Mm.
lie to me. It
Mm.
will be no good
No
for
good.
a really long time. I know that one. See?
Yeah. What's your favorite go-to junk food?
Hi, I'm Jen. I have no idea what I like, who says what to me when, and what I like to eat. Oh my gosh, my favorite junk food. It's probably going to be potato chips.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
potato chips. I don't remember the brand, but I know what it looks like. It's a white bag and they're non-GM. They are non-GMO. Yeah.
As your honest friend who wants to celebrate you, if we figure out what type of chips those are, I'll Amazon you a case of them or something,
That's
okay?
all. Cape Cod. Wait, they're Cape Cod chips.
Oh, yeah, the
Okay.
Cape Cod ones, the white
See?
ones. Yeah,
Good.
yeah, those are good chips, right? Jen, thanks for having some fun with me.
Yeah.
It's important for us to just press pause and laugh with a good friend. I hope you've had some fun getting to know Jen a little bit better, but hang on to all those mom hats because you will not want to miss out on what Jen has to share about the process and progress of becoming a woman of influence. And ladies, stay tuned until the end of the episode because Jen literally has a mic drop moment. You will not want to miss it. You're going to want to lean in and glean from this revolutionary insight that will empower you and equip you to become that woman of influence that you desire to be. You are leading women, helping them find their voice, use their voice, not just for podcasts, but in all areas of life. You've been doing this for a number of years. As a coach, as a mentor, we recognize that you're a woman of influence. But tell me about your journey. Have you always walked in confidence of the influence that you bring?
If I said yes, I would be honest with myself,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
And honesty is important. I remember I was about 11 years old and I was sitting on the front porch. The sun was shining and I had recently gotten a haircut. It was a shag haircut.
Ooh,
So
yeah, I
just a
remember. Yeah.
shag haircut. I didn't know if I liked it or not. It was new, it was different. And I wouldn't call myself a confident 11-year-old. But I was feeling pretty that day. And as I sat out on the front porch, my mom had a friend coming over. Her name was Katie. And Katie was this big, heavyset woman with white hair. She had always been a little sharp with me. And I remember her turning to me and saying something like, "Wow, you look very pretty today. I never thought you would amount to anything." And there's hurt there as I share that story, as I think about that. Right? I'm right back there again, that 10, 11-year-old girl thinking, oh, so when you hear something like that, when you receive something like that, you have to decide what you're gonna do with that. And I wasn't in a situation where I had strong women around me. My mom, I would not classify my mom as a strong woman.
Mhm.
My mom was still learning who she was and what she liked about herself and didn't like about herself, right up to the point where she went to heaven. So that's a lot of years not knowing, and it comes from my mom's upbringing. So I think throughout my mom's life, she was trying to make up for all the things that she didn't have by giving it to all of her kids. I'm one of six, and I'm towards the end of the line, which works out really great because your parents are tired of parenting by the time the youngest ones comes along. But it's not really great because you're left to your own devices. So no, not confident. Never would I have said that I feel confident. I wanted to be something more than I was, and I always thought I could be something, but I didn't believe that I could. I
Mhm.
thought, gosh, I have potential. I joined the army for crying out loud, and even in those 4 years that I was in the army, I was literally in foxholes. I was literally firing weapons. I still didn't have the confidence, and I certainly didn't know about being a woman of influence the way that I do now. In fact, that came much, much later.
Tell me about that shift when you had that aha moment that changed the trajectory of your life.
I would say when I knew I was moving towards divorce from a very difficult marriage of 21 years of hard, that I was going to be anywhere I went.
Mm.
You are
Mm.
always wherever you go. You can't shake you. You can't. And I knew that
Mm.
something needed to be different. And if something was going to be different, it would have to start with me. I knew the words, but I didn't even understand what that meant. But I knew that during that time that I was moving towards this divorce, I was having a
Mhm.
conversation with my mom. I went over to her house and I wanted her to say, "Jen, it's okay. You can move forward." And she would not do that. She listened to me, she prayed with me, she encouraged me, let me know that she loved me, but she would not tell me what it was okay for me to do. It turns out that was a very smart decision on her part because that meant I had to take full ownership of I'm moving in this direction. And during that time, I lost my mom unexpectedly. She died, and it shook my world. I lost my best friend. I lost my mom. I lost Oma to my kids. That's when I finally pulled the trigger on my divorce. So I lost my mom in December, and the following May, I was divorced because I thought time is too short. I got to go do something really different.
Mm.
So I knew I wanted more. So I would say it was a combination of events, this ongoing revelation, if you will, of something's really gotta change, and it does start with me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked.
Mm.
So finding out what I really liked, I was really curious, and it was really kind of exciting. I would tell you that's the first time in my life that I really met myself.
We have a lot of beautiful, marvelous moms
Uh-huh.
that are listening in on our conversation. And it sounds like there were a lot of crisis that were kind of culminating in your life to really push you into this awareness and this realization that you're a woman of influence. You have the ability to determine the direction of your life or how you're going to show up as a seasoned mom that you are. What's something that you can bring to the table to help our marvelous, marvelous moms understand that they are women of influence?
So a lot of stories flash through my mind. So I want to share a story. And before I share the story, I'm going to preface it with this. This is something that comes up from time to time. And gosh, I mean, it could almost be a mantra. Listen, I want you to pat yourself on the back right now. If your kids are alive, if you kept them alive, if that's the only thing you do today, good job. Well done. So
Yay!
let's start
Let's
there.
celebrate, right?
Yes, let's celebrate that. So when I was pregnant with my second daughter, my oldest daughter was 4 years old, and she did not have the terrible twos or anything, but those fours, holy gamoles. The first time it started was in the doctor's office, in the OBGYN office. Can you imagine? Okay, so you know how this is. You have your appointment. You have to wait for weeks or months to get in. You've got to wait in the waiting room, and it's just a really long day.
Mhm.
This is the day that my oldest daughter found her terrible twos as she was 4 years old, and she just completely lost it. And I was so embarrassed. Like, my kid never did all that stuff that all those other kids were doing. My kid was perfect. And I was sure that that had a lot to do with her mama. That clearly I had set the framework and the boundaries right, but she completely lost it. I was furious with her. I didn't know what to do. She would not stop. So I canceled the appointment. I went to the desk and I said,
Oh.
I can't even go back.
Mm.
We had a van. It's a blue van. And there's the front seats
Mhm.
and there's the middle seats and there's the back seats. I put her stinking butt all the way in the back seat. And from the moment we left that parking lot until careened off the road into a gravel parking lot to really ream her out, I was yelling at her the entire way about how horrible she was. I do remember saying that if I could tie you to the top of this van, I would tie you to the top of this van so that we wouldn't even have to be in the same car together because I was that furious with her. I was really upset. That was not a good mom moment. Let me just put
Mm.
it like that. And it was a realization of, wait a minute, this parenting thing may be a little bit harder than what I thought this parenting thing was going to
Mhm.
be. I was a woman of influence then.
Mm.
Now, the question is, what influence was I modeling for my 4 year old? Well, it's not one that I would teach her to model for her children. I would give her different ideas. I would give her different strategies. I would tell her to do a countdown. I would tell her to breathe. I would tell her that it's normal. Look, that her kids are not a reflection of her parenting. Her kids are a reflection of who God made them to be.
Mm.
And that, yes, she's got responsibility and stewardship, and she's got to put some boundaries around what they can and cannot do, but they're not going to show up the way that she wants them to show up all the time.
Well, let's talk about stepping out of those times when they didn't show up as the woman of influence that they envision themselves being. And they're stepping away from those times, whether it be with their kids, maybe with their husband, in laws, work, and we are driving home and we go, that is not who I wanted to be. That's not the influence I wanted to have. What do we do?
It's a great question. And the answer is in your question. So, envision, we didn't show up the way we envision. So, that means that you took the time to think in advance, hey, when I walk away from this situation,
Mm.
this is what I want to say. Now, just like when Casey lost it and then I lost it way worse, I had to go back and apologize.
Mm.
It's really interesting. I'm at this point in my walk with the Lord where when I think about apologizing, I often encourage women to stop saying, I am sorry. Now, hold the phone here, hold the phone. We say, I am sorry over and over again. And I believe the I am statements are incredibly powerful. So when we're speaking, I am sorry, it's usually not complimentary. It's just
Mm.
not. But if I have to say, Misty, Will you forgive me for being so rude to you? I mean, even me coming up with that, there's a little bit of a lump in my throat where I've got to take a position of humility, and it does not feel good. It is hard to submit to one another, yet we're told to do that out of reverence for the Lord. Oh, that's hard to do.
Mhm,
So when you blow it, the plan that you have envisioned when you don't show up the way that you wanted to show up
mhm.
is that you know you've got a backup plan. And the backup plan
Mm,
is, okay, when I miss the mark, and that's what sin is, when I miss the mark, what do I do?
that's good. Just those keys on true repentance that you just shared and the difference between just being sorry and true repentance and taking ownership. That's pretty huge. That's a powerful backup plan. One thing I've done, and I do this with my husband, we revisit the situation after the crisis is over because I want to capture that vision for how it's going to go next time. Because I can guarantee you there's probably going to be a next time. I mean, your daughter wasn't one and done, was she?
No.
No, no. There were a little few more of those 2-year temper tantrums
Yeah.
that you had to experience,
She
but
made up for lost time.
so the first time, maybe even the second, maybe even the 6th time were still kind of a shock to your system because she had been, per
Angelic.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what?
I mean, I had been the angel's mom, so she
Right?
had been angelic.
You are empowering a generation of women to use their voice of influence. So, what they're saying is going to have an impact, ripple effect
Yeah.
into the world and into the environment. So, how can you help us be women of influence and positive impact?
When I was a little kid, I had this tape recorder. And I remember recording. He pushed the 2 buttons down and he would record, and then he would play it back and listen to your voice, and I thought, "That doesn't even sound like me." And now we have this technology where you and I were in headsets and microphones and mixers. I mean, we are all to the 9, and I love my voice,
Mm,
and that's the answer. I think you must love your voice. God gave you your voice. And if you don't like how it sounds, well, then switch it up, sister friend.
mm.
If you don't like how you sound, maybe you're using words that aren't highly recommended. I know that's scriptural. Watch your tongue. What don't you like about your voice? See, we say a lot of things, and this is something that we're really good at. We're really good at saying what we don't like. Well, I don't like this. I don't like that. I think I did a little of that when you were asking me about how do I celebrate. Well, I was filtering things. Well, not that, not that.
Uh-huh.
To
Right.
get to what I
Yes.
do like.
Mhm.
So I think you must embrace your voice. Oh my gosh. It's what I said earlier. It's everywhere you go, whether you're speaking out loud or you're speaking internally in your head. This thought life, this is you are creating your life with what you're thinking about. So what the heck? You better like your voice. Soapbox is true.
Yeah.
You must love your voice.
Wow. Wow, that's really profound. You must love your voice to rise up, be aware, step into the room as the woman of influence that you are. You must love your voice.
Yeah, see, when I was 11 years old on that front porch,
Mhm.
Katie stole my voice because
Mm.
I didn't know what to do with that. Now, imagine if I had had a woman who was speaking life into me who would have taught me to have confidence in who I was, no
Mhm.
matter what my hairstyle was,
Yeah.
that because of who God made me, that that was amazing and incredible in and of itself. But that woman, she didn't just steal my voice on the front porch when I was shell shocked and thinking, gosh, I'm not sure if I like my new haircut, but that backhanded, uh,
Uh-huh.
I never thought you would amount to anything. I never thought you would look pretty. I mean, that was a challenge for me for a long time. And she had a voice and she was a woman of influence. She
Mhm.
just wielded something very, very harsh. And she used her power in a way that took mine away. So we've got to use our voices in empowering ways. We've got to
Mhm.
use our voices to build one another up. And when I think about our time together, and I think about some of the words that we've shared, we've shared some hard things together in the short time that we've known each other, and we've been very honest with each other. But it does start again with being honest with ourselves,
Mhm.
and we take the time to be grateful for the gift of our voice,
Mhm.
really, because God gave that to us.
Jen, I just wanna say I really value and appreciate, what you're doing for women in helping them love their voice. Jen, thank you for sharing that mic drop
Mm.
moment with us today on Mom to Mom Mentoring. I do know that I'm going to have listeners that want to learn more about you and hear from you. So tell us where we can find you.
I am a woman in transition. So I'm kind of like a Swiss Army knife and I'm multi passionate. So I have the podcast and I have some other things going on. So the best place to find me
Mhm.
is coachjenrogers.com. It's Rogers. So coachjenrogers.com.
Okay, great. We look forward to connecting with you there. And thanks again for being on Mom to Mom Mentoring.
Yeah, my pleasure.
As I wrap up this incredible mom to mom chat with my friend Jen, I want to extend a big thank you to you for joining us on this journey of growth and empowerment. Throughout this conversation, we've delved into themes of confidence, influence, and the incredible power of your voice. Always remember, your voice holds immense power to shape not only your life, but the lives of those around you. So embrace it wholeheartedly. Love who you are, but the conversation doesn't have to end here. Let's keep this momentum going. I would love for you to share this episode of Mom to Mom Mentoring with your mom friends. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. It helps get the word out about Mom to Mom Mentoring. Remember, we're all about lifting each other up on this incredible journey of growth and mommyhood. Thank you for being an integral part of this inspiring community. Together, we are unstoppable.